Welcome to the 14th Annual Chandler Sports Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony and Luncheon. The Chandler Sports Hall of Fame honors athletes, coaches, administrators, and teams who have brought recognition to Chandler through their athletic achievements. This year's outstanding class will stand side by side with previous inductees, including Zora Foley, Lindsey Fry, Adam Archuleta, Lindsey Taylor, Brett Hundley, Brianna Leslie, Cody Ransom, and Cameron Jordan. The Chandler Sports Hall of Fame class of 2017 is Chanel Brown, Hannah Carson, Stephen Carson, Tony Cassio, Glenn Love, Sidney Parsons, Paul Perkins, and Mike Woods. Congratulations to the newest Chandler Sports Hall of Famers.
My name is Chanel Brown, and I'm known for volleyball. I was in 5th grade, and my teacher at the time was into volleyball. He coached and played beach, and we're out to recess one day, and he just told me, you should really look into volleyball. I think it'd be good for you. And at recess, he kind of taught me, the fundamentals of it, and then he got me into club, and that's how I started. So I was playing with juniors and seniors in high school, and I was just turned 13. One of the coaches who had a huge impact on me, his name's Bernie Ng, and I was an outside hitter my entire life, and he was the one that was like, you need to become a setter. And so he kind of took me under his wing and really just developed me as the setter that I am today. So when I initially got to Florida, the plan was that I was going to redshirt my freshman year, and because I was still new to setting. I'd only been setting full-time for a year. We got into double days, and I just kept working hard and practicing, and after double days, they were like, yeah, we're not having the red shirt anymore, like, you're gonna play. So after 2 years of playing at the University of Florida, I made the decision to transfer because I just wanted to be closer to home. I was feeling homesick. Went to the University of Arizona. 3 months after I left the team, then I found out I was pregnant. So after I had my son, who was almost 4 now, I knew that I wasn't done with volleyball yet, and I still wanted to get in there and play. Word spread, and then all of a sudden I started getting floods of calls and emails from college coaches. They wanted me to come and play for them one last year. So this summer, going into my junior season, I got invited to play with a USA developmental team who went and traveled overseas. And I was absolutely I'm doing this. We went and competed in Croatia and Italy, and we played in a global tournament. And it was just the most incredible experience to be able to put on that USA jersey and represent the United States of America and play the sport that you just love so much. And it was an awesome experience that I was able to go play overseas and in a different country and different culture where, the game is the same, but then it's so different overseas. And it was just a great experience to go over and, see all that. My family is a huge reason why I've gotten so far in the game of volleyball. My dad played Arizona State football. And so from day one, I was born to be competitive and born to be in a sport. He really taught me, work ethic and what it means to work hard, and my mom just being there to support me and just be that extra hand and that extra, support system for me when I went back and played at Pepperdine, and to help me. And just my whole family in general has just been a huge blessing to me, and just how much of an impact that they have been in my life. And just through every situation that I've been in, they've always been there. It is so honoring to be inducted into the Chandler Sports Hall of Fame. When I got the call, I was just so humbled that I was getting this call and being recognized to be into the Hall of Fame. And, I wouldn't be here without my family and without, the ability that God has given me. And I just feel so blessed and so privileged that I am being able to be even inducted.
My name is Carson. I graduated 2011, class of 1-1. There wasn't really pressure for me to go into track. I enjoyed it, so that's probably why there wasn't any pressure either, but I also had the options to do other sports. I didn't just have to do track. So, I did soccer for the most part, balancing out with track, and then I moved on to, volleyball. I did softball for a year, which is really fun. And then I also dabbled into basketball a little bit. So I always had the flexibility to do the sports that I wanted to do, but track has always been my one love. The Arizona Cheetahs. Growing up with that life and just having so much support, whether we were doing good or whether we were doing bad, I feel like that's so vital in just being successful and being a good person. My experience with the Olympics again starts when I was 14. I qualified for the Olympic trials, so I headed out to Eugene, kind of competed there. That experience was of course exciting. It of course motivated me to keep pushing forward. After that, I went ahead and qualified for the Youth Olympic trials. So we headed out to Texas for that competition in order to qualify me to go out to Singapore for the actual Youth Olympics. We get out there, ended up coming in first, so I qualified. So we went out to Singapore for 3.5 weeks. That was super fun because they try to make it as realistic to the Olympics as possible. So we had all the sports there. Singapore is a beautiful country. I loved it out there, so that was pretty fun. And then kind of moving through my college career, I had the opportunity to go to the Olympic trials my senior year. I missed out on my freshman year because I was hurt. Then in 2016, I had the opportunity to go back to trials. I came out and got second place there. However, I didn't get to go to the Olympics because I didn't hit the 62-meter standard and I had thrown 61.27. Being the Gatorade Player of the Year, I remember being super excited about it because I don't know why, but I was just like, Gatorade, that's a big name, like it's Gatorade. So I remember being like super thrilled about being the nominee for that award. But I remember he actually kind of told me, and I was like, okay, so I was thinking I was gonna get like free Gatorade for like the rest of my life, like, things like that. I didn't know what to think, but I remember being pretty excited about that recognition. When it comes down to accolades, I really enjoy the personal accolades just because I know that I put the time and effort into it. Not that, team accolades aren't great as well, but when the team accolades aren't there, it's good and reassuring to know that, I still did my part, like I still got stuff done. There's not even words I can put together of how grateful I am to have my dad, and he's definitely made, I feel like, a lot of this happen for me, because if it wasn't for him kind of getting me that exposure, training me, even when we didn't have proper tools, he was going to make something happen. So that I just am beyond grateful to have someone like him. I mean, how many people are going to drive from Phoenix to New York and also from Phoenix to Baltimore twice just to make, your daughter happy? Being inducted into the Chandler Sports Hall of Fame is definitely an accomplishment for me because I've been seeing, previous teammates kind of come through and be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm like, man, I'm hoping my turn is next, and it's finally my opportunity. So being able to have this recognition after at least feeling so accomplished, it definitely means a lot to me. And then being able to be inducted with my dad at the same time, it just doesn't get any better than that.
My name is Stephen Carson, and I've coached with Chandler High School since 1996. Retired in 2012 from coaching here, but I retired from Chandler in 2015. So I gave about a good 18 years here, and I am the father of Hannah Carson. My background gets started in Fort Smith, Arkansas, where I was born, and I played football, ran track. Baseball was my main sport, but we didn't have it in high school. So eventually I would get a scholarship at our junior college in my hometown, Fort Smith. And from there, my parents decided to leave from Germany. My dad was military. They decided to move west here to Arizona. I've never been west. I stayed in the South for so long. And so I figured I can come out here and make the ASU baseball team. And have some fun, but it didn't work out at that point in time, so I decided to run track and field. And so I got hooked as far as track and field concerned with those connections. Then all of a sudden I became what you call a expert in track and field as a coach, even though I wanted baseball. Football was there, basketball has always been interesting to me, but as far as just being a PE major at ASU and learning those nuances of how sports works, how track and field works, had me hooked. And again, to be a coach, you have to be a teacher. So the wins are big, but the contributions and the concerns is, how did we do? Why did we do? Okay, and at that point in time, I cannot be pissed off if we don't win a championship or being a runner-up. I think the one that I'm probably most still upset about is when we lost in 2011, when there was just a calamity of errors and stuff, not by our teams, but by administration that allowed another team to beat our team, even though it wasn't an unfair thing. And I said, it's not sour grapes, but that was against my athletes. And no one did anything to help them solidify what they learned particularly, but we learned to live with that. So it's that asterisk runner-up that I kind of like put in first place. And at that point in time, we would have went back-to-back or probably won 3 in a row, because I came back my last year because I was going to retire in 2011. But that happened to us, so I came back in 2012, and that was probably the most special win on that and saying farewell, bye-bye. So that worked out, but again, there's not a really big special one. But again, when you win, it's kind of good to be king, as Mel Brooks would say. It's good to be king. Being inducted with the Chandler Sports Hall of Fame, I'm a coach, so therefore my job is to coach athletes or other students who want to do something to create something good for them. And I never thought about this point of my life and being inducted to any Hall of Fame as an individual, but as a coach, I knew sooner or later someone would say, hey, job well done, because that's what we get, pat on the back, you know, some congratulations. But for me, it's truly what athletes like Hannah can give to a coach to be very successful. And I appreciate those who realize exactly what I put in, time and effort to make your child safe, make them feel like they've done something that they can talk about. So it just gives me great pleasure that you guys have recognized me, and for other folks who have been inducted to keep it going. Thank you, Chandler, for supporting us.
Anthony Joseph Cassio. I am an ex-professional soccer player. I like to think I'm semi-retired. So starting back when I first started playing soccer, we were at church camp, and the pastor was like, you know, he went to my parents and was like, your kids are really good at soccer, you should get them into it. And that was actually the first time that we've really been introduced to soccer. My dad played football in high school and my mom was a cheerleader. I don't even think they knew what a soccer ball was. Playing varsity soccer, it wasn't like I didn't have any pressure or anything. Yeah, I played varsity all 4 years and pretty much played every game, I think, as far as I can remember. It was just another kind of stepping stone, and it was fun. I liked high school soccer. On my recruitment to UConn, I was at the Adidas ESP camp, and the coaches saw me there, and obviously we started talking from there. And I had no idea. I've seen snow before. I've been to Snow Bowl and I've snowboarded, but that first spring season was definitely a change. So yeah, my first goal was at Virginia in the NCAA tournament. And it was exciting. I mean, there wasn't like a ton of fans there, but it wasn't like my first goal in the MLS. That was pretty incredible. My first goal in the MLS was at Philly, my second career game, and sold out crowd in Philly, so that was cool because it was completely silent. Like, it was just me celebrating, so that was fun, and yeah, I'll never forget that. And anytime you see yourself with big names, it was Offensive Player of the Year for Big East. It means a lot to me. I mean, like I said, it's just you're seeing your hard work pay off. It's in anything in life, you work towards something. You set a goal. I don't think one of my goals was win Big East Offensive Player of the Year, but just knowing I was capable of it and receiving the honor, I mean, it felt really good. There was a bunch of highlights that jump out at me. You know, scoring my first goal in Philly at a sold-out crowd. That was pretty cool, seeing, 23,000 people just quiet. And then scoring my first goal at home, I think it was against Chivas. It was actually against Robin Fraser, who was the head coach at that time. So that was kind of funny. And that was exciting. I mean, seeing, the crowd cheer for you. Just every time you scored, practice, the guys were awesome. I was the first ever intra-league loan, so it was a loan between an MLS team to another MLS team. It was bittersweet. I mean, I loved playing for Colorado. I went into the office and he was just like, we got a lot of players on the wing, so we want to move you somewhere else and you'll still get playing time, when you come back. Obviously, it was something that they wanted me to get more experience, and playing with Kaká was a great experience. He was, the last guy to win the Golden Boot without the name of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. It was just a cool experience. He was very humble for a guy who was making $7 million a year. I'd like to say thank you to my family, mom and dad. Obviously wouldn't be here without them. Everyone had an influence on my life, mainly my close family, mom and dad, older brother Jason, older sisters Nicole and Marissa. To be inducted in the Chandler Hall of Fame means a lot to me. It's one of those things, like I was saying, where your hard work, paid off, and something to look back and, tell my kids, tell my grandchildren, and hopefully it'll be for years to come. And that's what it's kind of all about, leaving a legacy. And I think that's just another step of saying, hey, I did it. So yeah, it means a lot.
I'm Glynn Love, professional football player in the CFL, safety and linebacker. I was a soccer player. Me and my cousins, we all play soccer. And I got a little too aggressive for soccer. Some of my friends were like, oh, let's play football. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Ever since then, I get to hit and not get a penalty, so it was fun. Some of my early memories of football were playing Pop Warner with teammates and having a good time with them and breaking some tackles. And I was like, man, this is a really fun game to play, and I don't have to worry about getting red cards. It was a really good bonding experience. It was a lot different. It was more aggressive, more physical play, and I liked it. My senior year playing football, it was a great experience. A lot of guys that were injured the previous year were back healthy this year. We had the chance to go to Mazin, Ohio. It was like a big football tournament. It was like 4 or 5 teams around there. We got to play there. Unfortunately, we lost. That time, we're like, man, we can't let any other team beat us. So after that, we went undefeated. Actually, my dad flew down. That was one of my only times of me playing in front of him. He lives in Chicago, so he flew down and he was trying to see the game. I'm like, all right, so if this is the only time you're gonna be down, I got the ball out. So yeah, I had a scholarship for UCLA and I had a ball for them. I had proved myself that I can play. The decision with UCLA was based on academics, the weather, and coaches. The transition from high school to college was a little tough. I mean, you're messing with 18 to 21-year-olds, so it takes a little time to get used to the game speed. First game, it was crazy. It felt like a movie. Like, I don't know if you remember the Titans. It felt like it was that, but in college. I'm more of a team person, so just me, seeing everybody being happy and playing hard and just playing for each other. That's my highlight. That's what I played for. Coming out of college, I had an agent. I didn't know I was gonna play in the NFL or not. I was waiting, like when the draft came, I was like, oh man, am I gonna get drafted or not? And I didn't end up getting drafted. Then my agent's like, yeah, there's a place called Canada. Like, yeah, there's a CFL league up there. I'm like, oh, what's that? I'm like, just look it out. So I looked at it, and it had some good teams up there. It had a lot of ex-NFL players that play up there. There are 9 teams in the CFL. So you're a big guy that can run. We're gonna invite you up. All right, that's fine. So then my first year was in BC, British Columbia, with the BC Lions. Had a good time there, and I was like, man, if I don't get back to NFL, I'll be happy to play up here. The Grey Cup was a positive and negative. Negative because I didn't play. Luckily, we won the last plays of the game, and it was one of the best feelings. Ever since then, I was like, if I play 1 snap, I play 10 snaps. If I play 100 snaps, I'm gonna do my very best every play I get on the field. And I don't want to be one of those players that are there for a hot second and gone. I want to shout out to Coach Hartwig. He's a great guy. He He taught me just to stay humble and just really work and not talk. All my college coaches, my Calgary coaches, they respect me as a man, but most of all, I respect my mom and my dad and my sisters, my family. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am today, especially my mom, man. She raised me pretty much by herself, and she went through a lot to have me here. I'm surprised that I'm actually being inducted. I'm really honored. I get to be with my cousin now. I'm kind of mad that he got there before I did, but 'cause he's younger. But I'm happy that we're all as a family. We're all Chandler Unified School District, and it's great. There's a lot of guys out there that need to be in the Hall of Fame more than I do, I feel like, because I'm just a guy to me. Just being here, being in this atmosphere, being everything is really special to me.
My name is Sidney Parsons, and I'm a professional basketball player in Germany and in Australia. Up until I was 10 years old, I just played in the WHAM and the Gilbert local leagues. And then when I turned 10, I played my first year club ball, and I played for the Arizona Elite up until I was about 12, and then I went over to Silver Streaks and then ended up with the Arizona Sting. For the successes that I had, I would say they came a lot later, which is what I kind of try to preach to all of my kids that I coach right now. Definitely wasn't the best player. I was tiny. I was so small and just couldn't really keep up with everybody else. But I think those 2 years I had a really, really good coach when I was 10, and he just kind of stuck with it and kept pushing me. And then I finally, when I switched clubs, like when I was about 12 years old, I kind of started changing a little bit and growing and developing into, you know, a bit of a better player. But growing up and through high school, I was never, you know, the all-star or the best player. And I think that really paid off down the line for me because it taught me how to work harder and, you know, that it's not all about instant success, it's just about working hard through everything. It was my senior year, and so I did the dual sport, so I played soccer and basketball in one season. And I don't remember which newspaper it was, but they came and they did an interview, and the reporter did ask me what my future ambitions were, because I was really studious in high school as well. So I had really good grades, and I wanted eventually to go to law school. I told him I wanted to play professional basketball, and he just kind of laughed at me and was just like, well, you're way too small and way too skinny and, you know, not an all-star yet or anything like that. And I just said, well, you know, it just made me want to work harder. I think that's one of my things is when someone tells me no, which maybe isn't a good thing. When someone tells me no, it makes me want to do it or want to work a little bit harder at it. So I feel like growing up, I kind of always heard that, you know, you won't be tall enough, you won't be quick enough. Even when it went to school, one of my professors told me nobody's ever pulled off a 4.0, you know, all 4 years in college. And I said, okay, well, I'll do it. And so by the end of my, you know, college career, I had a 4.0. I had an offer as soon as I graduated. My first season, I went over and I played in Chemnitz, so that's over in East Germany. For 2 years, I played in Keltern, which is kind of near Frankfurt, for half a year, and Birnheim again, which is also in central Germany, for 2 years. And my last 2 years, I played down south in Nordlingen. My first roadblock was definitely the injury that I did have. I had never had knee problems before. They decided to do a scope just to kind of go in and see what was going on, and it was just supposed to be a 4-week recovery. They ended up finding out that they left a needle in my femoral nerve, told me that I had femoral nerve palsy. And I remember the doctor telling me that it would be about 3 years before I could run again, and he said I'd probably never be able to play again. I had just signed a contract to go back and play overseas, so I was like, well, I have to go back in August, and I had 4 months, so I was like, well, I'll be playing in 4 months, so got to figure it out somehow. But I went back to therapy the next day, and my therapist was so positive. And he was like, well, you know, we're just gonna work through it and we'll get you there. He's like, you have a contract, you've got to fulfill it. I wouldn't say I was ready in August, but I was as ready as I could be. My parents have been definitely, you know, so supportive and have really, really helped with my career. My parents were, you know, exactly the right amount of what I needed, I guess. They weren't ever helicopter parents. They never pushed me into anything, but they always just kept me active through my highs and lows. You know, when things get rough, they're like, well, just keep working hard. And, you know, when things go really well, they always keep me grounded. So they've been such a huge influence in it, and it's really helped so much. It means so much to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Definitely nothing I would have ever imagined, you know, in high school. Like I said, I don't think I was ever that standout athlete or just, you know, the best player around. I just worked really hard at it to finally get it, and through everything, you know, through my high school career, through my college career, and being overseas, and all the ups and downs, but especially the ups, it's paid off so much, and it's just really, really means a lot. And especially I've been away from home now for 14, 15 years. And so to kind of come back home and get that and have something that brings me back, to Arizona, to the city of Chandler, it really means so much.
Hey, I'm Paul Perkins, pro NFL player for the New York Giants. I was born in Gilbert, Arizona. Went to the best school in Arizona, Chandler High School. Early influences definitely with my dad. Coming up in a competitive household, my dad definitely instilled some of those lessons, those mentalities. Him playing for the Bucks, the Browns, and the Colts. My dad playing fullback, he definitely taught me a lot of tricks of the trade, helping me out, giving me some techniques helpful to, improve my game. And as well as my brother playing running back at the time, he both was instrumental in our success. Just wanted to give thanks to my brother, been a constant friend and has been an instrumental person in my life. His motivation and his inspiration has inspired me, not only at the college level and the pro level. I don't think I was good enough to pursue like an Olympic or professional track career, so I just stick out with football and see where that goes. So my first year I got redshirted, and I had a lot of great talent in front of me. It was a dream come true, becoming like a starter. The transition from itching to get on the field to you have to be on the field and you have to make plays for the team because you're a viable option in the offense. But it was crazy because one game I was maybe like third or second string, and the next game I'm starting. I'm out there, taking handoffs from Brett again. We had like two injuries in one game, and the next game they're like, "Hey, Paul, you have to get ready. This is no time to put your head down or anything." So hit the ground running definitely, and then as the season progressed, I definitely got better. My redshirt sophomore year, UCLA went to the Alamo Bowl up in Texas and played K-State, a great opponent. I just remember before the game looking at the rushing leaders for the bowl game. I think I saw I think Barry Sanders was up there, some other people were up there, so I was like, man, that's one of my goals, to be on the list of the rushing leaders after this bowl game, and lo and behold, God blessed me with a great game. The lead up to draft day was probably the most anxious I've ever been. This was when I was kind of getting nosy into the tabloids and newspapers and what round I was gonna go in. I was talking to these different coaches, and coaches were calling my agent, telling me that I'm gonna go in this round, or whatever it was. So I was getting kind of some high expectations. And once draft day came, kind of just waiting for my name to get called was kind of humbling. I think it was like the 9th running back taken. But once my name got called, all that went out the window. I honestly don't know who called me. I just heard this is from the New York Giants. They said this is so-and-so from the New York Giants, and then everything else went kind of quiet. And I was just saying yeah a whole bunch of times. And they're like, hey, we're gonna pick you up, next pick. I hope you're ready to come to New York, and yada yada. And I was like, wow. And then I hung up, and I turn over, and I see David Tyree saying with the 149th pick, we select Paul Perkins out of UCLA. And then, man, my mom busts out in tears. Yeah, it was awesome. My first game experience was in Washington, the first Washington game. I was on special teams predominantly. I think the whole game was on special teams. But it was awesome being out there, playing football. It was awesome going out there, watching the game. We lost, but I was like, hey, I got my first NFL experience, so it was pretty cool. It's awesome to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at Chandler. That's definitely that's one of my goals, to really leave my mark and my stamp on the high school that I love, the state that I love, playing with guys that I never thought I'd be on their level.
Mike Woods, head coach of Hamilton baseball. Well, I played my whole life. I'm from Rockford, Illinois, and I played obviously youth baseball, high school baseball. Played junior college baseball in Illinois. My parents had moved to Arizona in 1985. It was my second year of JUCO. And the bottom line was I had to make a decision. Am I going to keep playing, which I would have been like a Division III, Division II kind of player in the Midwest. Those were my options, or I could have just finished out my studies at Arizona State. So I stopped playing in 85, I guess it was. I came out to Arizona State, got in the education college, and just decided I was going to teach history and coach baseball. I was lucky enough, I got hired by Dr. Dupree and John Wren, and John Carson hired me. I'm happy the way it worked out, but I mean, if they would have hired me and said, you're going to be the assistant coach, I would have been happy. You know, I just wanted to get to the new high school and start something. Our goal was win a state championship. We got to the semifinals, we lost a tough game, I think 3-2 to Tucson High. And it was kind of frustrating. What's interesting about that is that was kind of the year. We've been kind of counting on that year for 4 years. It didn't happen. It was very disappointing. And then all those seniors left, and then in 2003 we had C.J. Rutherford and then a few other guys returning. That's it. And then we won it the next year. We went back to back. Eric was the Senior Player of the Year. Eric Ferris took a big step. And then in 2005. When we got to the state championship game and lost. And we've had a lot of guys make professional baseball. And it's super, and I follow all of them. I keep in contact with just about everybody that's come through here. You know, watching Eric, you know, in spring training, I had to go watch him in spring training, and then watching him on TV, he made the Brewers, and of course, Cody Bellinger right now, what he's doing with the Dodgers is it's kind of surreal, you know, and you're watching TV, and what you realize is the whole country is paying attention to who he is, and you know, if I can have a little bit of influence in their life, you know, that makes it worthwhile. We expect to be in the hunt every year, and that's been since 2002. There hasn't been a year we're like, well, this is rebuilding year. You know, at Hamilton, we expect to be in the mix. The people I would like to thank is my wife and my family. You know, and Dr. Dupree, who hired me, took a chance. I mean, I was just a freshman baseball coach. He took that chance and hired me, and then I've been so fortunate with the greatest group of guys to coach with. Coach Spears, Coach Mike Spears have been with me for 18 years. Coach Frank Pezzarello has been with me for 20 years now. Frank's been with me for 20 years. Lucky enough to have, you know, Tom Hansen, Clay Bellinger, ex-big leaguer, has been with us since 2006. Bloss Minor, ex-big leaguer, been with us since 2010. New guys coming on, you know, Brian Newman, Preston English, Kevin Craneville. I've had a lot of coaches, and you know, you don't have the success, you know, without help from other people. And I've been blessed. And I've been to the Hall of Fame award ceremonies, and it's a great honor. And I thank those who chose me. But it's when you win awards or you're honored like this, it's really about everybody. It speaks to the whole program, to the players I've had. I mean, we're good, and we're good because we've had good players, and they've bought into team mentality. And again, for my coaching staff, and you know, this is a program award or a program honor, the way I look at it, not an honor for me. I've just been very fortunate to be in a place where I got a lot of support from my administration and the families and the community, and just had, you know, a lot of great people working for us and playing for us, and very fortunate, and I'm just very pleased and thankful.
Kevin Asklin of MaxPreps.com wrote in February 2017, if you have to pick a team of the 21st century in Arizona, you start the selection process in Chandler at Hamilton High School. Under head coach Mike Woods, the Hamilton baseball program has been unbelievably successful, winning state championships in 2003, 2004, 2008, 2014, 2016, and 2017. The 2003 team got the championship train rolling, beating Brophy Prep in a legendary comeback that is still talked about today. Hamilton overcame a 7-run deficit, scoring 8 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to win it. Future Milwaukee Brewers infielder Eric Ferris exclaimed, "This is the best experience of my life. I'm never going to forget this moment. Never." The team beat Horizon in the finals to secure the school's first baseball championship. Hamilton won back-to-back state championships when they found themselves at the top once again in 2004. The 2008 team showed the same Hamilton baseball grit, rallying from 3 runs down in the 7th inning against Mesquite. The team's powerful offense roared to life with the game on the line, bringing home the program's 3rd championship when Ryan Casillas knocked in the winning run. 2014 began a winning spree that has yet to slow down. That year, the team won the first of what is currently 3 championships in 4 years. Led by power hitters like Nick Bruiser and pitchers like Cole Bellinger, The program has been incredibly dominant for the past 4 years. With Coach Woods at the helm, there's no reason to think the winning will stop anytime soon. Congratulations to the coaching staff and players from these championship teams.